All right, folks, I'm still alive. Everything is good here. We have a neighbor that has access to explosives, I guess, and is doing something on their land. That's borderline to our land, and I've done everything I can for that. But apologize for the large explosion sounds. That's not something you want to hear when you're streaming, right? That kind of scared the turd out of me. So I also apologize for dropping the stream to go investigate that. That was. Wait, why are we doing that? One second here. I'm just making sure I got the stream back up and running. I'll see if we can maybe get some more things done here before the before I have to get back to work. So let's see here. We were talking about view models, and we were getting a view model set up here. So we got a partial class here. We have observable. We have this here. What we needed this for is because we eventually want to have a user in an event that fires when the person clicks on the user profile button. And then we want some trickery stuff to happen. So the interesting thing about that will be is that I don't think we need to worry about the user button for calling the profile up. And the reason for that is because that's a UI thing, right? Because we want navigation to happen, and the view model usually won't handle that. It's more about getting data. So we'll want to get the but the name and the email address is something that we do want to get from the view model, right? So we'll need two properties for that to get the so we'll have here, why is this? That's never used. That's fine. That's fine. So what we want to do is take a look at, there's some annotations we can use for observable properties here. So see this right here? We'll just borrow this. We'll bring this into our view model here. We need two of these. We're going to need, we'll want something called user email address. And then we'll say, we'll want to make this full name. So that'll be your full name and that'll be your email address. These will be observable properties. Now that these should be code-gen. So we should be able to do is say full name. You'll see that there. Equals string.empty. We'll say email address equals string.empty. And that then means we could, let me think about this for a second. Now we're going to have a problem where two ways to do this, I guess. There's the lazy man and the right way to do it. Depends on how lazy I want to get about this. The issue we're going to have is that if we look at the UI right now, we have a thing that says what the field is, right? We have it where it says like email : and then it says user or name : or whatever, right? If we keep those in there, the problem's going to be is that it's going to be that we have to calculate those, right? And we have to kind of have both labels show up, right? Because this is a label here. We don't want, you know, we'd have to have a label aside this label, which means we'd have to turn this also into either like a grid or a stack layout. Like this would be a horizontal stack layout, for example. That's one way to solve that problem. But the other thing I'd argue is, do you really need the name? You know what your name is, right? You know what your email address is. So if you see your name and email address, you know that that's you. You're logged in, right? So technically speaking, do I really need to tell you it's your name? You would know that. And I think if we look at Google's, I'd like to use Google's as a primary example. They do their headers with their stuff, and I've got an Android phone right here. Let me just double check and see what the experience is over on Android land. I'm pretty sure that they don't put name and stuff in when they do this in their app. So I'm just going to open Gmail. No, you can't see this on the phone, so that you can't see my phone, so that's not very entertaining. But yeah, so you can't see this on the screen, but if I were to show you this in the camera, if you looked up in the corner where I'm logged in, you'll see that they don't have email or name, but what they do have is my, I guess I could try to put this up in Visor. What they do have is the first name and then the email address below it. And that's what we're trying to emulate here. So to do Gmail's UI, which is what we're trying to kind of emulate in some sense, because this is more of a material thing than anything else. So in that world, we would basically just bring in the name and set it. So what I'm getting at is I think we're doing this right. And instead we would say by default, not set, is is what we want. And we'll do this not set here also. We're going to say, hey, when you first log in, it's not set. You need to update your user profile. We don't know who you are right now, but we do know the email address. Actually, we know the email address because that is the user authentication service, right? So we can say current user var current. We should actually probably do this in a function. Let's do that. We're getting to the point where constructor is having some business logic in it, and I don't necessarily like when we do that. So let's do this instead. Let's make a private void set data or set user set logged in user. That's pretty descriptive. We're going to call that here. And now we have that, we could say here, we're going to start by saying var user equals, oh geez, that's pretty hilarious. Wow. And this would just be still, we're going to just start with not set. And then we'll get into like, we'll put a to do here. Call repository. We'll do a to do actually. To do get user from repository. And then but we'll say here that this is the user.email. User dot, what is it? Why is this read only? But what's the current user? What does this return back? A user. It's a user. So if it's not null, why are we getting a value back from it? Model. It should have a user password and team. It should be username. Why are we getting that? Seems weird to me. This should be a user, then a nullable user. This should take it. Actually, we should be able to wrap this up. If user null, and then we would say as our user, as user. Oh, if authentication service current user I think this is the as our user as far user. What's the C# syntax for this? I don't remember. Boy, I remember Kotlin. Let's see here. C# typecast. What we want to do is nullable set var in if statement check. There's no syntax for this. This is it. If item is item. Yeah. This is what we want though. Stack Overflow to the rescue here. So if this is user like that, and so this will just be mad because it needs to be the reference to user in here. Then we don't need this anymore because we should be able to say if authentication server current user is user. That's the new syntax, I guess. Okay. And so then user, this should be user dot username. There we go. All right. Our IDE helping us here. So I guess this is the new pattern matching way of doing it. Man, they are really doing some explosive stuff here, man. That shook my building. That's not good. I don't know if I have to call the police on this or what, but it's definitely very loud. Sorry about that. I had to message my wife again. She's trying to decide if she should call the police or not because this is getting a little bit out of control. All right, so we're setting the email address and this not set. That should actually work. We should go as far as even setting the image name in here also, and I'll get to that in a second. Now, of course, I don't have the view model wired up to the UI, so I don't know why I just hit debug. I think I just got flustered from all this explosion stuff going on here to remember that I still don't have it wired up yet. So, you know, this should still work, but technically speaking, this is not going to be right because we got to wire this up. So how do we do that? Well, one, we got to step back and register our view model to be created. And that's done inside the app itself. So in the app, we have a method that should set and create all of our view models. Let's go look here. Sorry, our Maui program. So we should have register view models here. Let's go to the, oh, where the heck is it? No, I want to go to it. There must be, should be, oh, where's the structured view? Register view models right here. All right. So in here, we'd have to go in here and make a new line for this. We'll just steal this line, paste it in, and we'll say that this is the app shell view model, and it's mad about something. Let's go through and fix that. Okay, that should get us the view model. And now that that happens, how are we making the shell? I can remember here how we're making the shell. Is it the app that's making this? I think the app that's making the shell. So let's go take a look at app CS. App makes shell. Yep. So we would have to also bring in the view model into here. So we'd have to say, because I want to say that what we do here is we say, where is it? New app shell here. Yep. And we pass the authentication service. So we have to bring in the view model also here. App shell view model. App shell view model. And we'll inject that in here. So we're going to say here, bring this down so we can see these and this is readable. We'll say app shell view model. Yep, that looks good to me. Okay, now we have that. We have a pointer to it. We can go through and anywhere we call our app shell, which should be here. We need to then send it also the view model. So we have to update our app shell to take in a view model. So let's go back here. Here's our app shell. We'll see here, we're just taking the authentication service here. We're also going to say a app shell view model. We'll just call this view model. And then private read only. App shell view model. App shell view model. Because now we can. Oh, we'll call this view model. Actually, let's make this just view model like this. Do we need to make this private? We do. Yeah, let's do it like that. And then we can just say view model equals view model. That gets our private. All right, so the view model will have, it's going to have inside of it now the username pass, or the user and the, we probably don't need authentication service though, because the view model is getting it. Where are we using authentication service at? We're making an authentication message right here. So we could pull that from the view model. So we won't, technically speaking, the view model has a pointer to that already, right? Let's just double check that. So the view model can provide that to us. We could say that this is not private. We can make it public. And then the view model could provide that. Or we can just say, what is it that the app shell really needs? Well, the app shell needs what? It needed the current user, I want to say, right? So we could make this current user right here, right? We could just say, we could just pull that out and make it a property inside the view model. And then we can hide the whole implementation of this. We can just say, hey, app shell, you have no idea who the current user is. You don't care. We're going to give you that in the view model. So let's go through and also do that in our app shell view model as part of this. So we can say observable property. And we're going to say this is private, private user. And we'll say current user. And then what we need to do is say that here, current equals authentication service dot current user. Oh, that's, wait, we're doing that already here in the set logged in user. Let's do that. Shoot. Yeah, we should probably do all that here. So we could say current user equals authenticated service dot current user. And then what we can do is now say just if current user we need to point it to this because we need that. Oh, we should also be using current user like this, right? And then we want to use it here also because we know that the shell is also using it. So let's see here. So and then we'll go through. We'll get the rest from this from here. This is a good place to be though. And now current user should be a public variable here, which means now an app shell, what we could do is take out this right here. We don't need the authentication service anymore because we can use our view model reference to the current user. We could take this out. We don't need that anymore. And then what we could do is say anywhere we see this, we're going to pass in the view model. What is it? View model? We'll have to fix that. And then let's see here. Yeah. So then app shell, we just have to take the authentication service out because we don't need that anymore. We could take this out. We don't need this anymore. View model should be equal to view model. We should be able to say here, we can just say view model. View model. And there we go. That should fix all that code. Now we ripped out the implementation in app shell so that it doesn't know anything about the services. The view model's job will be to do all that work. And if we go back to app shell, it should only take one thing in an app shell view model. So this should work. Why is it saying that doesn't work? Because I have it underscore view model, don't I? Oh, I call it here. Call it this instead. There we go. That should fix that. All right. And we don't need the authentication service pointer here anymore either because we don't use it anywhere else. We're going to let our view model handle that for us. Okay. Cool. Let's see if this breaks. We made a bunch of changes. We're not done yet, but before we head out here today, but we should be able to make sure that this still builds. Authentication should still work. So we shouldn't have broke anything. We'll validate that real quick. Okay, authentication is still working. This is still working, right? So we're all still good. So no regression so far. And yet we just changed a bunch of plumbing. So let's change the final part of the plumbing here. Let's go through and say that we want it in our app shell here. Now we have our app shell view model. We have the full name, the email address. Those are the two things we need. We probably also should make a observable for the private string profile picture. And so what we could do is that, and we'll say that this is going to be, we'll say that by default profile image name equals, and I don't know what that is. I don't remember. We had to go find that from our app shell code here. Let's go find our user grid. There's update profile. Where's our image by default? This. Grab that. So that's what we want to set in our view model. Not our login view model, our app shell view model. We want to set it to default to that. Okay, that should tell it by default. We now have like what we want to have default set here. So then all we have to do is bind this. So if we say, I think we have to set the binding context on this one sec. And let's go look at login view model. I'm pretty sure if we go look at the login view, we had to set the context so that it knows how to bind. We want this. Yeah, binding context. See this right here where we say binding context? This will basically make it so that we can bind two properties inside there. So we can just do this, copy this. We need to go through and make sure that we have that set. Otherwise, we won't be able to bind. So inside of our app shell code behind, right here, we're going to say binding context equals view model. And actually, how I would normally do this, I would set the local private context to it, and then I would do this to the private versions I have set as a pointer. Although we already have a property inside of here, do we use it anywhere? We do use it here, don't we? Yeah. All right. See, the problem I have with that is that once you set it, do you really need the local? You're making an extra reference to the view model, and that's not really something you need to do, right? The local reference here. If you already make a reference to it here, we're making multiple references to the same thing inside of ourselves, right? So I'm not 100% convinced that this is probably not a good idea. What we probably should be doing is saying, we should probably typecast out the view model from the binding context. We should probably have something like this. App shell view model, binding context dot, and then do something like this. What I want to do is say after binding context to make that a parenthesis like that. And then once I do that, technically speaking, I could just get the view model reference from the binding context. I just have to typecast it here, right? Because we know it's set to just an object. At that point in time, I no longer need the local reference here, and I'm saving myself one reference counter on the garbage collector, which means that thing will collect sooner. So that is a stickler point for me. That is probably better code to write. So now we have the binding context set, and the app shell knows about that. What we should be able to do here is set the user. Let's start with the email address, say binding. Then we want to say this is to what this was email address. I want to say. I think that's what we want to make it, binding let's see here. Let's take a look at login view to make sure that I have the bindings to text right. It's been a little while. So if I had to do .NET binding, yeah. And then we should just say what we want to bind to. Oh, we have to put it inside parentheses, the squiggly brackets. So we have to say text binding. That's right. Let's look at the view model, make sure that field's right. It'd be email address for that, and then it'd be full name for the other one, right? So up here, this one would be binding full name. And I think, is there supposed to be a space between these? I don't think so. Let's see what happens there. See if that fixes it. Oh, you do set the binding context. That's right. So it knows what the thing is. You could set the you could set it here to say what the view model is. Right here, data type. Yeah. So you could basically bring in these two and say the data type, and then the code complete will work for you. That's a good point. App shell. So let's see here. Let's do this, and we'll say view models. This would be like inventory. Is that right though? That namespace seems wrong. Yeah. And then what we could say here is that the view model, this would be app shell view model. And then now we know that. Now when we go do our bindings, it should know about the properties inside there. These should no longer be yellow squiggly marks. It should know those. In fact, we should be able to even go as far as doing this. We should be able to say here binding, and then it will give us the fields that we have. You can see here, so that'd be profile image. And then I can just select that, and then it knows that. So the reason how we did that is we had to kind of tell it some information about what we're binding to right here. So these two, this tells it where is the class located and what assembly. That's what the namespace really here, right? We're saying namespace. If you said assembly, that would mean that we're digging it out from a different DLL. And then we're saying what kind of data type is the view model that we're binding to. And we're saying that it's going to be an app shell that then knows the properties of an app shell. So that's what these two lines of code do, and that's what makes our code complete work so that the IDE has some kind of clue of what the hell we're trying to do. So let's see what's going on here. We finally failed. Reporting clear. Where am I? But I need real errors, not fake errors. This will get tricky. See output. Where is the build output? View, window, problems? View, build. What did they get mad about? Just as a bunch of dots. What's clean? And build. Oh, still cleaning. All right. Project was clean. There we go. Finish building. Now it says it succeeded. Try running again. Oh. We're running an iPhone mini. They're running. What the heck is going on here? Not getting any errors in the build output. But yeah, it says it doesn't complete. Doing. See, deployment failed. See deployment output for details. Yeah, where am I supposed to do that at? What's going on here? So this will be the deployment. I don't think any of this stuff is the stuff. Let's trash this and try running again. Let's try running on Mac and see if we get a different error message. Maybe because it should deploy the same way. It should just run the app. Maybe we'll get an error that we actually can see. Okay, here we go. This is what we're looking for. Property icon not found in Maui view model. Oh, we're sending it a name, but it needs the icon, and it was looking that up in XAML. That's what's going on. So the view model, when I do the avatar here, when I was saying image source, this is an actual image source itself. Shoot. So we would have to make this. So that we had to do a little bit more work here in the view model. So in the view model, the problem is that this isn't really a string at all. It's a image source. And then what we'd have to do here is we'd have to say equals new image icon image source. What does it need? No parameters. I think we could do is this. I think you'd do new, and then inside here you'd have it like this, and you'd say that's I think that's the new hot C# syntax. Let's try that and see what happens. I feel a little bit better now that we know why that wasn't working. Let's see here what's going on here. Icon not found. What's it mean, icon not found? I have it as an image source. It takes in an image source, right? Because the image source here is of type image source. So I'm binding it to. Oh, because it's nullable. I bet you that's what's going on. Because in here, do I have it set in the view model as nullable? I do not have it set as nullable. They're not nullable. But this would not get set. So no matter what, this has got to get set. We can't have an if statement here because that can't be null. That's the first problem, but profile image should equal a image source. And this should equal a file image source. That should work. Why is it saying property icon not found? image source binding icon, I guess. We'll have to do a quick Google. .NET MAUI bind image source via view model. Error, can't find icon. Why is that happening? All right, so what it's saying here, if we look at this, is it's saying that we have that. I know that for a fact because it was working before. We say it's a observable property of type image, and then we use image equals this. Seems wrong. They're saying just say equals this. That seems like it's trickery to me, but it looks like they overrided operator equal to take a freaking string it and then convert it to an image for us. Okay, you go, Microsoft. That's really interesting. That has to be what they're doing, right? Is that they're overriding operator equal here. Can I inspect used to be able to go into the source to see this. I'm just super curious now. Navigate to this. Invitation. Here we go. So here is the set. Oh shit, this is my code. This is the view model. I don't want that. I want the image source. Oh, I don't have, it doesn't let me view into the source of image source. I guess I can go look on it online. Just kind of curious. I'm pretty sure what happens is that the only reason this could work as an image source, taking in a string, is if they override operator equal. Yeah, you'll see here, implicit conversion. Yeah, see, it's still saying that it can't find. It's also saying that these two could be null. Else, we'll just set full name equal to string.empty and email address to that also. Although that's not going to solve that particular problem. And it's probably mad because it can't see these being set in the constructor. But then I have to have a fat constructor. God. See, what it wants me to do is this. It wants me to basically delete this and set this so it can see it. Boy, Ryder, sometimes you're a big old turd. You get spoiled by tools like Android Studio and Xcode. So that got rid of the yellow warnings, right? But now I still get this icon thing. Where was that Stack Overflow article I saw? Did I absolutely lose that Stack Overflow article? .NET Maui bind image source, can't find icon. Let's see here. You shouldn't have to do that. Huh. Only one Stack Overflow article from 2023 here. We have the accepted answer, which has been accepted 6 times, uprated 6 times in project. We know Maui image worked because we had it defined there and it was working. And then it's saying here from resource, observer property image, use image equals. Huh. Everyone's saying this works, but I'm getting not icon, not set. Is it because it's probably because of the fact that they're not using this. I'm using this avatar image, which obviously is needing something other than an image source. We could validate this by changing the code back, right? Instead of doing a binding here, we could just say, where's that file name at? I may have to research this. I don't think this is entertaining watching me try to figure out why this doesn't work. I may have to research this offline. But if we said that, and we go back to running it works, then we know it's the binding of the image source. And now nope, we're not. We're getting a different problem. Wait, what? Wait, how are we doing that? Oh, this entire time wasn't even the image. The image was right. It's the icon that's freaking out about. Shoot. It's not even this that's causing it. Oh man, you turd. It's because of the fact that the menu I create down here, and then it's supposed to loop through it, and I set the icon, and then it doesn't know how to bind to it because it doesn't know what the icon is. So where are we doing binding icon at? So what would have to happen is I have to build these inside of C# in the view model to make them available in the view model, because otherwise I set the data context binding here. When I set the data type here and I bind to it, now it thinks that this is the data context and it won't let anything outside of it happen. So shoot. And that means in the template, where I'm making the template, I'm binding to the name of the icon and then the icon itself. Yeah, so you see here, this is the icon. It's also going to be mad about this because the image icon and title are there. And so it would need to know in this grid, it would have to know that the data type shoot. So it's going to break the data binding. There's another way I could do this without using data bindings. All right. Let's just try this real quick, and then I gotta get offline. I still got stuff to do here. Name equals avatar view. What we're gonna do is this. We're gonna start a same binding here. We're not even gonna set it, and we're gonna do the same thing with the names here. We're gonna do some trickery. I'm gonna say here, and this would be full name, and then we'll make this email address. This is going to have some problems though, because you can only set it when the view comes into memory. That's why we need binding. But this, shit. Yeah, this is not the right way to do it at all. This will be a hack and it won't work, and I'm going to have refresh problems. The real answer is to take the proper time. Let's put the binding back in for the image, because that's not the problem here. We want to say image source equals binding. What did we call this? We called this what? Profile image source? What was it? Current user profile image. Okay. We got to fix the binding here, which means we have to make we'd have to make flyout items here. Here's the header template. So this will be our header template. These are going to be our flyout items. That's our menu item. Then these are the drawing templates that bind, right? So the problem is going to be is that these would have to get set via the view model to find these, because otherwise it's going to have a problem. And I don't think I could do this. But the problem's going to be is I don't think the data template's going to work anymore, because it won't know how to loop through the collection of them. Yeah, I'm gonna have to research this a little bit because this is gonna get a little bit complicated because once I do a V model on this, the problem is the bindings, right? I could bind, it fixes the header, but then it breaks the menu template. The menu template is just looking for items and it should get called, but how does it know? I mean, obviously this would be setting. If we were like an app shell CS. Um, See, there's no properties on this to in C# to set these flyout items. There's got to be a way to wire up a .NET MAUI app shell bind by view model. There's got to be a way of doing this. Looking here to see if anybody's got is describing or looking at the same problems. So people are asking about it. Hmm. I'm just looking to see if anybody's got it. Boy, sometimes the internet is just full of bullshit. Yeah. All right. I'm about to research this a little bit. I don't know the answer to this, how to fix this. My fear is that if I make the flyout items inside of the view model, and then I don't know how to attach them to here, to the shell. Oh, wait, there is a shell. Is it just called shell? Is that what I'm missing? Is the obvious? 1 second here. Nope. Because almost every single time this stuff would equal out to the C# version of this. So we have a shell that we're making here, right? And so the shell would be defined here. Yeah, there's got to be. Oh, wait, I'm in the wrong thing. I'm in the app CS. Where's the app shell CS? Is there just a shell in here? 1 second here. There is a file items. Okay. So it looks like I was looking in the wrong CS file. So I think that we can actually fix this. We can make a new private void or private enumerable flyout item. Yeah, flyout menu. And we'd want probably to make a new var items equals new list of flyer items. And I think we don't even have to do this anymore. I think you could now do this and then say return items. And then this, you just need to have the items. And for that, we would just go here, find the flyout item. We would have to say, we need to give it a title. Poop. Let's see if we can split view this. See if we can make one of these real quick. Oops, where is the shells? Yes, that's what we want over here. Dual monitor kind of coding or coding on a bigger monitor. This is where it really kind of kicks in. So we would say new flyout item. And then in here, we would set title equal to projects. And then we would have to also say that the icon is going to equal a new font image source. This would be a new. And inside of here, we would also have to say that this is going to be color is going to equal app. Now that's the only thing I don't know. How do we do the app theme binding here? All right, let's not do the color right now. Let's just worry about the font family. That would equal font awesome solid. What I don't know is how to do set the color here. How is app theme binding getting bound here? It's got to be because of the shell itself. Let me see how to C#. Maui app theme binding via C#. How do I do that? Okay, that's SAML how to do it, but how do I do it in? So they're saying here that you could say, what's this called? Color dot. They're saying set app theme color. No, set dot set and then they're saying the property would be what is this? This is color. So it'd be icon dot color. Icon. So it's saying set app theme color to bindable property. Boy, all right, so let's see here. So font image source, color property, and we want to say light is, we just have to, wait, why is this bad? That should be right. Can we build this? Because that's what we're saying here. What's black coming out to? You see, normally you hover over this and it'll tell you what the property is coming back from. Did we build? Oh, crap. How does color not have... Oh, I bet you it's colors, that's why. Wait, what? Why is it? Frick. Var project icon equals new font. What is this called? A font image source. And then let's take this out. Put this in here. Oh, wait, no, that's the flyout item. We just need the image source stuff. And so what are we setting here? We're setting the font family. Okay, that seems like, oh, damn it. All right, that seems, really? All right, so that seems right. And then what we need to do is say project, and then it's saying set app theme color to, we're saying font image source color property. We're saying colors dot black, colors dot white. We may have to make a quick helper method that does this because we'd have to set these for all the icons, right? I'm just trying to see if I can get the syntax right now. And so if we looked here, project icon. Okay, if we look at that, now what else do we need from here? So we're setting what? We're setting a image source. The image source has got a color, a font family, and a glyph. Okay, so then the glyph is what we have to set last. So we'd have to say glyph equals, and then this is where we'd say okay. Wait, why is this bad now? That's right. It's spelled wrong. It's helpers dot project. Oh. And then all we have to do is say that the icon So the problem is we got to set this via method. We can't set it. It looks like you can't set it in C sharp. I don't see anywhere in Microsoft's documentation where it says you can kind of set this in C sharp via a property. Looks like it's a setter. That's a bummer. Hey, TB Gamer. I am doing okay. I can't complain. It's Friday afternoon. I'm trying to figure out some Maui stuff here again today. Today I'm trying to convert over my app shell to use a view model. And I need that because I'm trying to get a dynamic header working. And I started down the road of doing some work, and now I've got myself to the point where I kind of broke some things. And I'm trying to get myself out of that regression hell nightmare that is what's going on here right now. And so the problem is that once you walk down the road of doing your view model and binding it, it breaks all your other bindings. And so what happens is when I did the binding for my header, which would fix my ability to see like my users and stuff, it breaks all my shell items, these file items, because these file items have a binding to different properties here that I don't have right now, right? So that's a problem. So I have to figure out like then how do I tell the data template that I want these to come from the view model, because the view model doesn't have a thing called an icon, so it's just like it doesn't know what to do, right? And so I'm trying to figure out like one, I need to figure out like how to set the fly out items via the view model. Then I'd have to return them via the view model and then set them in the shell, right? So that's the first thing I'm trying to figure out is like, can I set those via code? If I can set those code, then the theory would be is that I can probably fix the binding problem. I don't find anybody that's has this exact problem. I don't know how many people have tried to tackle this particular issue. The only thing I could think of is I know that Dave from Microsoft, the guy that wrote the Maui examples. So if I do 1 second here, GitHub Maui examples. Right here's the samples from Maui. Get these up over here. The one thing I do know is that Dave did not use the flyout menu the same way as I did. And I used to wonder, why didn't he do that? When I was looking at his code, I was starting to believe like, what is going on here? What's the point of this? Why would he do flyout like this? But now it's become kind of apparent to me that it may be literally because of the fact that he wants to have dynamic binding and you just can't do it the same way. So you'll see here, if we look here, his, where is it? So he's got a data template here. Binding to select route. But if you look here, he doesn't really, he hard codes each one of his menu items in here. If you look at the actual template he's providing, the content, this content template, instead of having like my template, he basically just throws all the menu items in a single content template and just says the file items are here, but really I'm just going to hard code them. So the only thing he's really using the file items for here is for routing. And you can see here the content template. He's saying content template equals, data template pages homepage, and that will handle the routing for him, I believe, or it'll route to that page. But the interesting part is that he doesn't then really have items like I have them. He's setting them hard coded inside of here. And at first I didn't understand why Dave would do that, right? Because I'm like, Dave would be kind of smart about this. Why would he do really a template that basically is just hard coded items? But now I'm starting to come to the light of why he did it, because if he's doing view model binding, he's going to have a problem because of the fact that if he's doing a view model binding, your binding is going to take over for the template. And I don't think you could do both. So now I'm starting to realize that a little bit more here, that that's something I know just from looking at the code, because I've studied the code a little bit of what other people do, right? When you're trying to learn something new, you want to learn from other peeps. And that's one thing that I am realizing, that maybe that's what's going on. And that's maybe why Dave did his the way he did it. Now, I haven't asked him about that. I should probably do that. That's another thing that would be a logical thing to do, is to ask Dave, why did you do it this way? I've never heard him speak about it, But I just basically use templates. I'm not using content templates. I just use regular good old templates down here for mine. And so you'll see I have an item template and then a menu template. I don't have a content template per se, right? Because in my world, I was just trying to do it the natural way, which is you make a bunch of items, you set their properties, and then you let the template draw it for you. But the problem is my header, I want this to be dynamic. When you log in, I want to pull the information from the database of who you are and stuff so that I can show your name, I can show your picture, and all those kind of things. So this is kind of in, for sure, ask Dave. Yeah, I mean, Dave, man, it's me. I got the stuff. No, man, Dave's not here. No, man, it's me, Dave. I got the stuff. You know, it's not that, but it's pretty close. I'm pretty sure this is what's going on, though. I'm pretty sure that that's why Dave did it the way he did it. Which means I could, technically speaking, then do what he did over here, which is looks like he just made a content. Just looking here, making sure I have this right, what he did. I'm reading his code again over here on the other screen. For what I can see here, he did made a shell flyout content template. And that template, basically, he hard-coded each one of his items to just a manual layout in a grid with just rows. Yeah, so it's definitely what he did here. You can see here that for each one of these, this is row 3, row 4, row 5, and then he just hard coded the thing in there, you know, versus making it versus using item templates. I mean, I guess I could do that. Let's just do this real quick here, just to validate that I'm right on this. This will break my entire app, but if I were to comment this out, yeah, this is gonna get real mad real quick. Like that, and run the app. The app should run now. The problem is none of the menu will draw, but my items that are in my view model will draw. I'm pretty sure on that. Because the bindings for them work. The binding problem is in once I make the bindings work for the header, I'm breaking the menu. Let's see here. What is it doing? Build output. What's the build output saying? It's still mad about the binding because once I set the wait. Oh, I think I'd have to comment out the freaking template too because the template's mad. Because the template can't find it. The things you do to confirm that your code is not broken. All right, let's do that. This should probably break things. I'm trying to think what would happen. There's a header, but no items. It should just draw blank space, I think. When I think about it. I mean, it should build. I mean, if there's no item template, there's nothing for it to conflict with that say that it has no icon. So my view model binding that I'm doing here that I'm doing as the data context would not break because right now the data context is itself until I added this code in to right here, this binding context, which is what broke things. I changed it from being itself to being the view model. Yeah, see, you don't even get the menu icon now because of the fact that the shell doesn't know how to draw. Is there... I mean, there's another way, I guess, to do this, but that's also not fun. I could make... No. Couldn't do that either. Think about hack rate things I could do. That's not going to work. So, well, one, I know that now this is the problem, right? Because I took out my template and that fixed it. So I know that the template is really the issue at hand here. So that's the reason why I'm busted, right? Is that the flyout items are not even the problem either. It's really the template that ends up breaking it. It's this right here. It's this code right here that's breaking it, right? And so the flyout items by themselves are pretty harmless actually. So let's go here. And so what we're gonna have to do is do what Dave did. And that's a bummer. On the flip side, I guess it means that the menu, I don't have to fight it so hard. I guess maybe there's a positive to this. I don't know. We'll see what happens at the end. But this should only take a few minutes to actually fix with some cut and paste magic here. So if I do this, and I do this, that would get me my data template, right? Dave, we expected better. Yeah. Dave, if you're watching this afterward, I'm so sorry. Let's see here. So we know that we like the grid that we have here in our data template. But we want the grid from our item template because this is more items. Let's see here. Okay. So we basically want to steal the whole entire grid definition. Let's copy that. I'm going to bring that into our new grid we have here. Hey, new grid, how you doing? So now the difference though is that we've got some visual states. That's perfectly fine. That's cool. Let's close out. I don't think I need to do what I was trying to do here now. So let me take out this method because I don't think I need this anymore. I think I'm going to do Dave's method. And I think this is probably going to fix it. Makes sense why Dave did it. So that means I can just move this over here, which means we can see everything better. Now we can see our code better here. Perfect. Okay. So this is what we're going to get into though here is that we need, we know we're going to have 2 columns, but the problem is that we're going to need row definitions. And so we're going to have to do that also inside of the grid itself. So let's see here. We've got row spacing, and I think I could do row definitions in here without having to do a big thing for it because I just, I don't need to, I don't need to say anything other than how many rows we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 projects, developer, replication, logo. 4. We should have 4 rows. Okay. So we have to, in our grid, we have to define our rows, right? Because otherwise it won't know how to draw this properly. So then once we do that, we're going to duplicate this over and over again. So we're going to say here, so this would be column 0, grid row 0. This is going to require a lot of cut and pasting, right? And this is the part that stinks, is that we would say then that the icon here, so this image source would be this right here. So we copy this here. And this should be, instead of source like this, it should be this. Which equals, oh shoot. We would have to do something like this, and then we'd have to say source, and then we'd have to do this, and then after this we'd have to close image source. And where are we breaking here now? We're saying color. What did I break here? Oh, I accidentally copied. No, wait. It should be after the glyph. Right here's glyph. Project. And we should have a close tag. Okay. Okay. Slash image. And then we'll deal with why it says that it's pissed off. Why does it say it's pissed off now? So the image source would be oh, what was it called over here? It was called icon. So image, there's got to be an icon in here. Image source icon. Icon. We have to tell the image source that this is a type of. This should do it actually. Is XAML just playing with me here? Let's try this then. Let's say that the label. Let's finish this and see if this works. This would be column 1, label 0, row 0 here. And then this would be bound to the text, which would be projects. And there'd be no binding to this. This would just say the word projects hard-coded. So that's how Dave's menu works. Now, what is it pissed off about here? Let's see here. How does he set the image? He just says it's he doesn't use font awesome images, so that's not going to help me. Is it? Checking his code to see if I see any example of what he's doing. I don't see that at all. So now the problem is I think I have to do a setter on this. I'd have to say oh. Okay, I feel like an idiot now. I'd have to tell it what property inside the image I want to use. Duh. Okay, that should work. And if I don't have any templates, that should draw a single item. If I were to comment the rest of this out. That should work. Let's check this and see if it works. If one works, we can get them all working, right? That's I don't want to cut and paste like all the entire implementation, and then if it doesn't work, it's like, well, I just wasted a crap ton of my time. Which see, it's not working right now, so that's not good. So I'm glad I didn't do that because otherwise I'd just be wasting a turd load of time. Cut and paste this in only to have this implementation at work. So what am I missing? So what Dave does is he has a flyout content template. He has a control template. But that's not really making the menu draw. Oh, he still has the flyout items. Oh, shoot. So wait, he's still saying that there has to be a route, right? So how does he know where home is, though? I'm looking to see if I can figure out, like, how does he make logout no, or does he even care? Where's messages defined here? So he has a route for entitled messages. So value messages. So it looks like he's using radio buttons for each one of them. And then he has a on method change that he's running. And so yeah, because he's doing all the routing by hand. So he's waiting to see if something's selected. So this is his code. All right, so let me explain what Dave's doing here. So he runs an on item menu item changed event here. And then he basically handles the routing himself versus letting shell do it. So he sets a binding complex to itself instead of to a view model, that's exactly what I'm not trying to do because that's what's breaking me right now. If I just use the regular if I were to use this regularly, this would not work because of the fact that I'm setting it to a view model. So Dave's implementation is also different in bad ways because he's really not using a view model to do his data items. So this is his hard-coded menu then. For each one of these, he just does uncheck change, call this event, right? And then so what happens is if you click on this, he goes through and sees what the item was. And what the item was, he just runs to whatever that is. Yeah. And so I think his trickery in this is that he sets the value to message it here, and then he could use that to find the route, right? So then that would give him the flyout item, and then he could just basically say route to wherever this is. And as long as these two things are the same, his code would work when he clicks on it in here. When he goes here and just says selected route. And so he's basically making this an observable object because you see on property change here, he's firing the on property change event, which would make this an observable. Well, is he cheating? If you said that if he's using the MVVM pattern, right, and he said that he had view models everywhere, he is cheating because all this logic should be in a view model. However, Dave's is a Blazor application that has a bunch of web pages instead, and so because the fact that he's using Razor, not 100% able to compare apples to apples here because he's embedding most of his view logic and stuff inside of web pages. And so comparing apples to oranges here a little bit in some sense, I'm trying to do the pure view model view kind of, the MVVM pattern for this. Unfortunately, I'm not seeing Microsoft to provide an example at all how to do this in MVVM without breaking things. This makes sense to me that his content template works the way it does. My real problem with the way that Dave did it is I don't think this solves my problems for me. And so one could say, well, okay, Aaron, that's pretty easy then. Your solution should be is that you don't use a view model, right? Just set these as observables inside of your view, and then you could bind to them, and then set your binding context to this, and this would all continue to work. It does, but then it makes my app look like crap because everything else I'm going to use view models, and then here I'm cheating. I'm putting the two together, and that doesn't feel natural to me. And it feels to me like I'm missing something. Like I'm just not seeing something of how to do this with a view model. I think the real problem was when Dave does this with his template. The problem is I would have to handle click events for each one of these and do it myself like he does it and do the routing by myself. The whole point of the shell flyout was that it does all that for me. I don't have to do any of this work as long as I set the item, right? If I set the flyout item title, I set its source and stuff, and I show its shell context, it should be able to do this for me. It should know that, oh, okay, I'm gonna go over to this place for you. I shouldn't need to do this. I don't know the answer to this. Because this does all the work for me. This shell context here does the work of setting where it should go and stuff when somebody clicks on it. Guess I'm gonna have to research this a bit more and figure out what's going on here. But I have spent way too much time on the stream. It's almost 3 o'clock and I still have work to do, so I've got to run. Folks, I appreciate everybody for just hanging out with me in the .NET stream today. I guess I've left the stream with more questions than answer. I've got my code broke. This is all bad things to leave the stream with. But what I can do is to get my code working again, I can, because I don't like checking in code that doesn't work. That's a bad idea, right? So what do we do then to fix this? Well, we could say that we could take the binding context that we did here in our app shell. So let's find app shell CS and comment that out. So because we know this is what's busting us, right? So if we do that, we then go back to app shell. And if we take our header here where we had it, and really all we have to do is, we've got 3 properties we'd have to go through. Well, first, let's go find this code that we put in that doesn't work. This right here, this content template, that ain't gonna work for us. So let's just get rid of that because this is just not gonna work. And now what I could do is I can re-enable all this. Take this out. Take this out. Get our menu template back. Take that out. The only thing that's busted is right here. Our data type and our view models. We can keep the namespace in, but we'd have to get rid of this. And I don't think you can we'd have to do something like this. Because you can't comment out in between tags. Set this in the main tag. And then what we'd have to do here is where we have our bindings, right? So we're doing a binding on a couple things here. So one, it's on the profile image name, full name, and address. So what we'd have to do here is an app shell here. We'd have to make 3 properties. Public, or actually they could be private, or binding public string full name equals, and we'll say not set, we'll say public string email address not set, oops, and public, what was that last property I made in here? It was profile image name. This was a image source. And that should fix the binding problem. And if I rerun, those should bind now because these all exist locally. And shell should be set to bind to itself by default, and this should fix it. Worst case scenario, I may have to tell shell the binding context is to this. But this should get my menu back working, hopefully. There we are. Our properties aren't working, so the binding obviously is busted, but at least my code is not broken. So my header is the only thing broken, which we kind of knew about. And it looks like Logo. Did Logo bomb the app? Logo bombed the app. Why did it bomb out the app, though? Oh, take a look at the stack trace on this and figure out why. UI kit. Why did it bomb out? Is that a memory problem? Is it when we click on anything or just log out? So logout's bombing out because of dependency injection. When we log out, I changed the app logic. That's what's going on. Let me fix that real quick. I don't like knowing that my code doesn't work. So what happens here is let's take a look at this real quick here. So we say when a person logs out, we send a message. And we set the main page equal to login view. And login view should be here created. So login view should come out. Otherwise, we told it to make main page shell. So what would happen is that something would be happening where login view is null is my guess. And we could just do this by putting a breakpoint here and see. Let's check here, see what happens when we go here. Put breakpoint here. We click logout. Is our breakpoint firing? It's not firing, so we're not getting. So app shell should be running a method when the logout is set. 1 second, where is it? Main template right here. We should have a binding text. Yeah, the click event, I bet you it's not getting bound to. Menu template. Where's our menu item at? Where do we make our menu items? Right here. Yeah, right here, clicked, logged out, clicked. So, oh, ha 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 ha, because I set the view model and it no longer has a context to the current user. Cuck a butt. I would have to review model this. Private, read only, app shell view model, app shell view model. And then what I'd have to do is say, app shell equals that. And actually, we should probably make this just view model because it is the view model for the app shell. That's a better naming convention. Let's go back and fix it over here. And then what we'd have to do is change that out to be view model instead. And that'll fix the null exception error. We would just say, instead of the, because we no longer have the binding context because I commented it out, we would say view model, that current user. And that will fix it. See? Change one thing to take the binding out to try to fix this and break the world. There we go. Now when we log out, it works. All right. So that was a null exception. That made sense once you realize like what I did. So we're going to have to figure out how we're going to handle this we'll have to figure out how I'm going to handle this view model problem, where when I bind to the view model, the problem is it breaks the app shell's built-in functionality because it doesn't know how to bind to the actual individual icons that I have defined in here. What I'm curious about is if I do this, does it? Does this also break it? Now I'm just kind of curious. Oops, that's wrong. Danger Will Robinson, that's the wrong thing. That's apps, yes, not app shell. This is where we'd want to do it. We'd want to say binding context equals this. does this break the shell? These are not observables, so this won't work right now. I'd have to switch these out to be observables. But if that does work, see, not set, not set. Okay. I know how to hack this and to get it working. I'm not happy about it. But what I could do, because the binding context works with this set there and all the menus seems to still draw and stuff. Excuse me, convert these to observables. Once these are observables, I can then modify these via getting the data from the view model. And I just have to modify these local instead. Yeah, TV Gamer, I have a workup now in my mind of how to fix this, still use view models and get this binding to work without have to hack out the shell too deep. So I have a new plan of how to solve this problem. I just have to go through and do the actual physical coding on it. So we'll probably do that Monday on the lunch stream, or I may do that this weekend. We'll see what happens with my free time. So one way or another, we'll get this thing up and running where we can get everything bound, and then we'll make a form that you can fill out. It'll save it to the database, and we'll be able to pull up your profile image and all that kind of good stuff. So that's our plan for Monday. So, all right, folks, thanks everybody for hanging out with me. Apologize for all the explosions that we heard earlier on the stream. I guess my neighbors have stopped trying to destroy things. I'll probably have to talk to my wife and figure out what's going on with that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys all either this weekend or on Monday. Take care. Have a good one.